Yeah, I just seen the Breakfast Club. Jimmy popping all that bullshit. I be seeing Jimmy talking about we Gucci boo boo. He in the Gucci store. Talking about we Gucci boo boo. The Black King niggas was going fuck up. Jimmy they was like, Marita Monero.
Recently saw a clip on Instagram where a young kid was comparing you to Nas and saying that you got
that's my young boy.
big hits.
He's wild.
Yo, he looked to you. He learned how to wear the BB Simon belt.
He was not a rapper then.
Right.
He was your man, like on the side, like in the side, just he was not a rapper at all.
Right.
So when Ballin' took place, and I'm looking and I'm going, oh, he having a moment. That's the Lloyd Banks.
50 Cent just locked his aim on Jim Jones, and things are getting wild, fast. Jim kicked off the chaos by disrespecting Nas on Fat Joe and Jadakiss's podcast, saying he's a better rapper and that he's done more for the culture than Nas ever could. That's a bold claim.
I just seen the Breakfast Club. Jimmy popping all that bullshit. I be seeing Jimmy talking about we Gucci boo boo. He in the Gucci store. Talking about we Gucci boo boo. The Black King niggas was going fuck up. Jimmy they was like, Marita Monero.
And kind of crazy, considering he used to praise Nas like a legend. So what made him flip like that? Some people are whispering that Jay-Z might be pulling strings behind the scenes. See, this isn't just random drama. 50 Cent is straight up accusing Jim of being Jay-Z's puppet. And the timing? Suspicious as ever. 4 years, Jim went at HOV, mocking him in interviews, throwing shade whenever he could. Then suddenly, he's calling Jay his big bro? Come on now, that switch-up looks sketchy. Let's rewind to where the storm started. Jim sat down with Fat Joe and Jadakiss to talk hits and hip-hop history. Joe brought up the new generation, saying Jim's done more for hip-hop than Nas. And instead of staying humble, Jim ran with it. He laughed and said, these new kids don't even know Nas, then doubled down, claiming his influence was way bigger. Like, bro, really? Don't get it twisted. Dipset had a whole era locked down. They changed the sound, the swag, the style, no doubt about that. But Jim didn't even give props to the Diplomats when he started bragging. He made it sound like he carried Harlem all on his own. You could see Jadakiss's face drop. Man looked stunned, like he just heard the most out-of-pocket take of the year. Jadakiss didn't even need to say a word. His silence screamed, stop the cap. Everyone knows Nas is a certified legend. Jim, on the other hand, didn't start getting real respect in the rap game until Ballin' blew up the charts. And now that same dude who was starstruck just meeting Nas last year is suddenly saying he's the better artist? Come on, that's not confidence. That's pure ego.
He wanted that. He was watching them be that, like Mace be that and Camp be that, and looked at, and it was finally, he had one.
Mm-hmm.
And I just looked, and I knew, I just took the shot murder to see, because I wasn't sure he was going to go for it. Mm-hmm. But I was like, we like Jimmy better than you anyway, Cam. You got to watch and see how he was and then, when you see, he like, oh, he really like that. Give me this, give me Jimmy. Yeah, tell him we want you at this show, Jimmy. Yeah, but that was one of those things I just threw it out and see what. And then when he bit to it, because it was like he was having a moment that not sure that was going to ever happen again at that point. And then he's going, for them, they have records that where, look, I always say this to certain artists, I go, damn, when is he going to have his moment? Like,
Jada kept it calm, but his face said everything. The disbelief was written all over it. And you already know that clip hit every major artist's feed within hours. But Jim wasn't done. Nah, he pushed the gas all the way down, saying he could out-rap Nas, claiming he's got better bars, sharper flow, more impact, more relevance, everything. Then he really crossed the line, saying, I'm more relevant now than Nas has ever been. Like, what? That's not self-belief, that's chaos unleashed. To back it up, Jim started pulling out numbers, Billboard peaks, Spotify streams, viral hits, top albums, trying to make data his defense.
Saw a clip on Instagram where a young kid was comparing you to Nas and saying that you got
that's my young boy.
big hits.
He's wild.
Yo, he looked to you. He learned how to wear the BB Simon belt from you. He got his swag. Like, How crazy is that? Because in my era, you know what I'm saying, Nas is like a god.
In my
right?
era, in my era too. I mean,
So
well,
to be compared,
let me
that young kid out.
he was young and we loved that he loved Jim Jones. I want you to break it down.
Let's break this down. I admired Nas, but remember Nas' first record, The Barbecue, came out when I was in a.
But the internet wasn't having it. Nas fans came ready. They pulled receipts faster than TMZ, reposting stats, album ratings, and awards, roasting Jim for disrespecting a man who's been dropping timeless classics before he even had a deal. The comments were brutal. Let's keep it real. This beef didn't just come out of nowhere. This tension's been brewing since the early 2000s, back when Nas called out Dipset and even mocked Cameron's Come Home With Me, calling it weak.
Young, like you did, came to dressing, the wordplay, the music, everything. I was a superior Nas fan. Period. I'd never take that away from him. But then as I got in the game, you got to realize that your rivals would be idols, and not to take anything away from that. I developed my own style and my own lane that these kids start to gravitate towards the same way I gravitated towards Nas when I was younger and things like that. It's a whole different generation. We talking about 94, 93. I was in 11th grade. Nigga, it's 2025. There's a big gap there, you know what I mean? And I want people to understand that. So when Shorty's telling people that, yeah, he's 20-some years old, that goes to show the part of the era that he's in, that I came into light and started going crazy, that these kids love me. They don't really know who Nas is. If he's 22, he's born in 03.
Not all of them, some of them.
Cam fired back over Nas's Hate Me Now beat, and boom, full-on war. Harlem versus Queens. Ego versus legacy. Pride versus greatness. But here's where it gets messy. While Dipset and Nas were going at it, Jim was also beefing with Jay-Z. And Jay used to clown Jim publicly. Things got ugly real quick. The real drama popped off when Jay-Z refused to make Cameron the vice president of Rockefeller. That one move set off a massive explosion between the Harlem crew and HOV's camp. Jim stood by Cam hard, and that loyalty kicked off a long, ugly feud with Jay himself. Fast forward to now, Jim's out here praising Jay-Z and dissing Nas after years of firing shots at both of them? Yeah, something's definitely off here. This ain't just random. This feels strategic, like there's a bigger play behind the scenes. Jim and Cameron have always felt like they got played by Rockefeller. They believe Jay used Harlem's flavor to boost the label's image, then tossed them aside like they never mattered. And don't forget, it was Dame Dash who brought Dipset into the rock circle, not Jay. But once Jay took full control, Jim and Cam felt iced out, like he intentionally pushed them out to dim Harlem's shine. And trust, Jim didn't bite his tongue about it. He went in on Jay, calling him soft, claiming he'd lost touch with the streets, and even accusing him of locking Harlem out of the Rockefeller empire. And this wasn't just talk. Jim really took it to the streets. On December 22, 2008, he got into a full-on brawl inside a Louis Vuitton store in Manhattan. The man he fought, a close friend and business partner of Jay-Z, that wasn't some random scuffle. That was personal. Jim later pled guilty to misdemeanor assault, but that moment showed just how deep his beef with HOV really ran. Way deeper than rap. But here's the wildest twist. After all that smoke, after years of clowning Jay and calling him out in public, Jim folded. He circled right back, crawling for a deal from the same man he'd been tearing down for decades. That's crazy.
Persons, and then Nick be trying to act funny when it comes. No, I've been spanking a lot of this. I'm talking about the industry. I've been putting on. So let's not get into that where we get into numbers and I got to show you the statistics of what I've done. You heard to what other people was done. You heard them. You want to go to the Billboard entries, pull up Nas Billboard entries, then pull up my Billboard entries.
Listen, we can't compare the two. What I'm trying to tell you is
I want to go there. I want to go down the line now because now we going down the line. He's a rapper and I'm a rapper.
Listen,
let's go statistically.
It feels great.
No, but I want to go statistically because when people be like,
I feel the same way. We all feel the same way.
And forget about the numbers. You heard? My numbers back up.
The same dude who once said he'd never bow to Jay-Z was suddenly hoping HOV would throw him a lifeline to save his career. What a flip. That's exactly why people say Jim Jones can't be trusted. He's known for flipping sides the second things get rough. It's like loyalty gives him hives. And that's exactly why 50 Cent never respected him. Back in 2007, when the G-Unit vs. Dipset beef was boiling hot, Jim shocked the whole rap scene by showing up at a G-Unit event. Yeah, 50 invited him, but not to sign him or welcome him to the crew. Nah, 50 was playing chess while Jim was still moving like he's on checkers. He brought Jim out just to expose him. See, 50 wanted to make a point, especially to Cameron, that Jim would do anything for a little bit of spotlight. It was a straight setup. 50 humiliated him in front of the entire industry. No contract, no money, no new deal. Just a cold reminder that in this game, loyalty matters. From that moment on, 50 saw Jim as soft, a man with no code, no spine, no principle. Fast forward to now, 50 and Jay-Z have been locked in a quiet Cold War for years. So when Jim ran back to Jay practically begging for a Roc Nation deal, that was the final straw.
Things like that.
I've heard you say that.
Since the barbecue and things like that, like he really put the whole dope boy rap, crack hustler, get fresh rap into perspective before anybody else. Before I heard Jay do it, before I heard anybody else, like he changed the cadence of rap into a whole different steam. Like he's the one that broke the camel's back when it came to artists like, to me, when it came to artists like Big Daddy Kane and all these artists that came right before him. Like after Nas came with that, they started to fade out, and then Jay, Fat Joe, like all of these rappers that are spitting about the life that we was really starting to live right now and how it was changing. Like this is, you know what I mean? So that's how I felt about that whole.
The second that pen hit the paper, Jim officially became 50's enemy. And what happened next? Not even a few months later, Jim suddenly started tossing slick little shots at Nas. Coincidence? 50 doesn't buy that for a second. He's convinced Jay-Z's the one orchestrating all this behind the curtain, using Jim as a pawn in a bigger power play. Jay's been itching to stir the pot with Nas again, but instead of getting his own hands dirty, he's letting Jim do the heavy lifting. That's classic Jay. Always moving in silence, letting someone else catch the smoke while he stays clean.
No, nobody else. Me, Jim Jones. Check my track record. Then check everybody else's track record. Then go to the billboards and check all my entries. Then check all them entries and like if you want to go to the billboard entries, pull up Nas billboard entries. Then pull up my billboard entries.
Can we address one thing though?
Go ahead.
Jim Jones has 9 entries in the Billboard 200 with 3 top 10 albums and no number ones, while Nas has 27 entries, 16 top 10 albums, and 6 that have reached number 1 on the Billboard 200.
Right now, 2025, I'm in the game still rapping at a high capacity. If Nas wants to smoke, come in the booth. I will rap circles around.
Jim Jones is rapping at a high capacity right now in 2025. I'm on record as saying I think some of the best music that's been coming out of New York in recent years has been from Jim Jones. I haven't seen Nas in that mode. Nas still makes great music at a high level. I just haven't seen Nas in that, you know, let's get active, get natty.
And 50, he's not fooled one bit. The second he caught wind of Jim's alliance with Jay-Z, he knew something sneaky was going down. 50 Cent didn't waste a single second. He went straight to Instagram, doing what he does best, calling Jim out in the most savage way possible. The man lives for this kind of drama. He dropped clips, memes, and captions clowning Jim for selling out, saying he switched sides just to stay relevant. 50 straight up called him the industry's favorite puppet and hinted that Jay-Z was the one pulling his strings to do the dirty work he didn't want to touch himself.
Jones went on Fat Joe and Jadakiss's. Oh, look, a topic in a topic. Yeah. He went on Fat Joe and Jadakiss's podcast and had a lot to say about some dude on the internet that said Jim Jones is better than Nas and has more Billboard hits than Nas.
It was a young kid. I believe he was like 23 or something, 22, 23. And he was saying that for his generation, his era, they don't look at Nas. And a lot of people took offense to that. I personally did not take offense just because of the kid's age, of the generation.
It's like a sports conversation. Like the numbers are the numbers. But in New York City, with rappers, we don't necessarily go by that.
Yes, Travis Scott is the bigger act, more hits, more numbers, more. But to the rappers, don't nobody give a about what.
And 50, he's not fooled one bit. The second he caught wind of Jim's alliance with Jay-Z, he knew something sneaky was going down. 50 Cent didn't waste a single second. He went straight to Instagram doing what he does best, calling Jim out in the most savage way possible. The man lives for this kind of drama. He dropped clips, memes, and captions clowning Jim for selling out, saying he switched sides just to stay relevant. 50 straight up called him the industry's favorite puppet and hinted that Jay-Z was the one pulling his strings to do the dirty work he didn't want to touch himself.
Oh, man. Hip-hop, of course, you know, is a competitive sport. But on the other end of it, it's like certain people shouldn't be able to say your names until they done something in the genre of music. I've done too much in this music to even have to answer that question. Like Jim Jones, who is Jim Jones? Like, he's not on anyone's top 10 list. He's not. He's like, no one's top 10 list, maybe not even his family. Oh my God. I was saying last night, it's like the 8th guy on the bench just screaming at Jordan, like, you a bum. Like, you want to be like the 9th guy on the bench. I'm not even worried about you.
Yeah, from whatever you painted the picture to me to being a hype man, or he wasn't the best rapper, or he just started to get whatever you want to narrative you want to paint. You still got to listen to me talking to you right now in 2025. What I did for Nas probably never been done for him in his life. He's never been that viral at all, ever. He's never been talked about like this ever in his life. The last time he was in some shit like this where people were comparing what him and Jay was.
And this wasn't just playful trolling. 50 was serious. He reminded everyone that Jay's got a long history of using other people to handle his beefs while he plays it cool in the background. According to 50, this whole Nas situation is just another example. He said Jim's basically doing Jay's bidding while pretending to be his own boss. Brutal.
In the ad,
Right.
because of look, Jay-Z and them was putting it together.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they still harbor some energy towards me.
You think you were purposely left out of the ad?
No,
Oh, okay.
I don't think. I think that they were saying the NFL had some issues with me that I don't know what those issues are. Like, what is the issue? You see what I'm saying? Like, and I with M, because like with Nori he had communication. He said, yeah, I talked to the big homie. He was saying to Jay, he was telling me, the white boy wouldn't do the truth without 50.
Fire. And it got messy. Fans dug up old interviews where Jim was praising Nas, calling him one of the greatest, and even saying Nas inspired his hustle. Those clips spread like wildfire. Suddenly, everyone's asking, so, which Jim Jones are we getting today, the Nas fan or the Nas hater? The whole act started looking fake. And the memes, they exploded. Meanwhile, Nas didn't even blink. That's what really stung. The man stayed cool, dropping timeless bars, winning Grammys, and minding his business while Jim's out here chasing clout and clinging to controversy. And 50, he's loving every minute of it, throwing jabs at Jim every chance he gets. Sometimes slick, sometimes straight to the point, but always sharp, always surgical. At one point, he even said, Jim's the type to diss a legend just to get his boss's attention. Ouch.
I hit the homie, the big homie Jay-Z, right? And I told him to come pull up on me. And he pulled up on me. And he said, the white guy called for 50 Cent. So I said, who's the white guy? I'm digging this Jimmy Iovine. And he said, no, Eminem called directly for 50. And he said,
That's his guy.
He said, I can't do it if I can't bring 50 up.
But here's where things start to get darker. Whispers started spreading that Roc Nation's own camp pushed Jim to stir up this whole Nas drama as part of a bigger PR stunt. And if that's true, it means this beef isn't just personal, it's business. Think about it. Controversy equals clicks, streams, and headlines. And nobody knows how to control a narrative like Jay-Z does. If 50's theory is right, then Jim's just another pawn on Jay's chessboard, and a disposable one at that. But 50 being 50, he didn't stop at just talking. He went digging. He started leaking behind-the-scenes stories. Moments where Jim was allegedly begging for features, begging for meetings, and still getting curved by the big names. He's basically tearing down that tough Harlem boss image Jim keeps selling, making him look desperate for validation from circles that never truly respected him. And honestly, this whole thing's starting to feel way bigger than rap. It's not just about bars anymore. It's about pride, credibility, and relevance. Jim's fighting to prove he belongs in the same league as the legends, but every move he makes just gives 50 more ammo to drag him through the mud. And 50 said it best, a real boss keeps their hands clean, even when they do dirt. That line hits different because it exposes how this whole industry really works. Jay-Z's mastered the art of moving like a ghost, calm, sharp, and untouchable. But behind that slick suit and quiet smirk, he's calculating every single move like a chess grandmaster. From borrowing Biggie's blueprint to freezing out his own Rockefeller brothers, Jay learned early that power isn't loud, it's silent and strategic. He doesn't just play the game, he owns the board. Look at the pattern. He iced out Dame Dash, made sure Cameron never got too much spotlight, and now he's got Jim Jones out here reigniting old beefs with Nas, while he stands back, cool as ever, pretending he had nothing to do with it. That's classic Jay. He lets everyone else get dirty while he walks away spotless. Bag secured. Image intact. It's cold, but it's genius. And that's exactly why 50 Cent doesn't rock with either of them. Loyalty is everything to him. And in his eyes, Jay and Jim broke that code a long time ago. That's also why 50 rides so hard for Eminem. M's been solid from day one. Never switched sides, never folded under pressure. When the rumor hit that Jay tried to block 50 from performing at the Super Bowl halftime show, it was Eminem who stepped up and said, "If 50 ain't performing, then I'm not performing either." That's loyalty money can't buy. See, fame fades, numbers drop, and trends come and go. But respect, that's the real currency in this game.